Hello everybody and welcome to Gaming News Now. We got a lot of topics to cover. I am horribly behind, so we're just gonna jump right into it. Moon Studios got the rights back to No Rest for the Wicked. Originally, No Rest for the Wicked was owned by the publishing arm of Take-Two. That would be the Private Division label. Originally, No Rest for the Wicked was under the Private Division label. Well, thankfully, Moon Studios was able to get that back. Along with a bunch of Annapurna devs were able to start continuing the work that was already started by a bunch of other developers, and Private Division has kind of offed it onto them. So they're taking care of Tales of the Shire, which is that Hobbit cozy kind of Stardew Valley-esque game. Also going to be taking care of Kerbal Space Program, the series as a whole, despite the closure of the development team, as well as Pokemon developer Game Freak's new action-adventure IP, which is a little bit interesting that they'll be the ones taking care of that. But we'll have to wait and see what comes of those. It's just a nice thing to be able to see the continued development of games and that we're not losing a bunch of other ones. It's nice to be able to see that. I'm very happy that Moon Studios was able to get back No Rest for the Wicked. It's something that I've had my eye on. It's on my wish list and actually just released today as of the 13th. Went into 1.0 from what I understand. It is $27 or $28 US. If you are interested, maybe go ahead and go support that team. And hopefully we'll be able to see maybe a little bit more of Ori and the Blind Forest, as they are the ones who originally developed that game. So hopefully we'll be able to see a little bit from them. The voice actor strike continues, but we've had a couple minor developments that I missed last week and some stuff that has happened this week. So to quickly kind of go over a little bit of the history of what's going on, since I've never actually touched on the subject. SAG-AFTRA, the Screen Actor Guild, and the union that's associated with that guild are currently on strike with the games industry as a whole. Now, this is specifically, obviously, for voice actors that are part of the union. This started back in July last year over the use of AI voice acting and companies not wanting to pay royalties for the use of the AI voices. Essentially, continued payment for, hey, we put in this AI voice of this actor into our game, but we're not going to want to pay it. Because, fuck you, I guess. They recently picketed strike outside of the Warner Brothers Games offices in LA earlier this month in March. So they did that. And then the chief negotiator for the strike and the chair for the negotiating committee released a statement to members the night of the 10th of this month of March that read, "Though progress has been made and agreements have been reached on certain provisions since we launched our strike last year, the last proposal the bargaining group made is still filled with alarming loopholes that will leave our members vulnerable to AI abuse." While, yes, about 160 or so companies have agreed to the interim agreement set out by the union, which is why you're still seeing games come out with a bunch of union-based actors, not everybody has obviously signed. And so currently it is a interim agreement. It is not a full, hey, look, we got what we wanted, we can stop this whole strike, we're good. Still haven't gotten that from the industry as a whole. So for right now, a lot of actors are out of work from companies that they would normally be working with because those companies do not want to agree. One of those companies is Hoyoverse. For those of you that don't somehow know, Hoyoverse is a developer of Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail, and Zenless Zone Zero. This week, Hoyoverse put out in the patch notes that 2 of their voice actors were no longer going to be inside of the game and were being replaced. Mind you, this is also how those voice actors found out. The voice actor for Soldier 11, Emery Chase, and Lycon, the Wolf Boy, Nicholas Thurcuddle, found out that they were no longer going to be in the game and were no longer voicing in the game. The weird part about this is that ZZZ, Zenless Zone Zero, is technically, not technically struck because it started development before the strike. So a lot of the voices were kind of already done, or at least worked on and taken care of. Well, now they are finding out that they don't have work anymore. It's just great. We have a bunch of companies that don't want to agree to not having to use AI voices in their game and just hiring actual actors. Because while, yeah, AI is accelerating at an incredible rate, it's still not going to be able to give you the same level of collaboration and the ability of improv, remember that, to give you the performance that you're looking for. A lot of actors, especially voice actors, will do multiple takes for one line. This is something that everybody kind of commonly knows. One of the things for those takes is improvisation of the lines for something that maybe the actor feels the character would do in that situation. So a lot of times, this will happen very consistently and change how that character is then viewed, and a lot of times those improvisations are used inside of the game, media, whatever it might be. You don't get that with AI. You just write out what you want the AI to say, and it will say it. Sadly, AI is going to take over the world of creativity and make it stale and corporatized, which is just lovely, isn't it? It's so lovely. So overall, it seems to be a lot of stalemating happening from the game industry companies that have not yet agreed to the interim agreement or just agreed to give the union what it wants. It would be nice if that would happen, because holy shit, if one of the things that they're asking for is just, hey, can you like not use AI voice actors for this stuff, but having to essentially put your foot down to be able to be like, hey, no, maybe don't shitify an artistic space just feels wrong. Like taking out the human element from art just feels ever so horribly wrong. So hopefully we will be able to see some kind of change from this. At least, I hope. If for somehow you haven't heard that there is the possibility of a larger price tag on GTA 6, then I feel very happy for you, because I wish that I could be in that same boat. Sadly, I pay attention to too much news, and because of that, I get to see how there are already rumors going about that there were people thinking about making GTA 6 cost $100 on release for the basic game. Not the deluxe, the basic package. No extra shark cards, just the game. Now, here's where it gets a little sticky. So, a securities group, specifically the Wedbush Securities Group, thinks that there is the possibility that Take-Two could be planning to sell GTA 6 for $100 or more. Mind you, they said or more. We already had the raise in prices for the games. We already went from $60 for AAA games, which granted has been the status quo for the gaming industry since it really feels like forever. It probably has been forever, probably since about the 90s, I would say. And because of that, the price for games has never really raised with inflation, which has been nice. As a hobby, you get to be able to know what the game is going to cost regardless of what year you were in. Now, that got changed when the price for a AAA game went up to just about $70 on average. Not every company is doing it, but most of them cost $70 a game now. I personally did not have an issue with the raise in prices. Games cost money to make. People cost money to employ. People are the ones making games. And because of that, I am perfectly fine with games having to cost more. Here's my issue, is that the people that are making those games aren't necessarily getting paid more. Instead, the C-suite is getting a larger bonus, or trying to keep their bonus. Meanwhile, they're like hiring more and more and more and more people to the point that maybe they can't exactly sustain what their salary and bonus were, and they don't want to take a pay cut. So, raise the prices. If Take-Two does this with GTA 6, there is a very high possibility that we see the standard change once again. Remember, all of this is speculation right now. If this does happen, what we most likely will see is the games raise another $10, most likely go up to $80. But we really don't know. Just be warned, it might happen. And if it does, the industry might go up again in price. Just going to put it out there so people are aware. That is why I'm doing this. Fortnite is being sued over its use of dark patterns to sell in-game items. So this suit comes from two parents who have filed the claim in San Francisco on behalf of their kids. The parents in the lawsuit allege that Epic is essentially acting with dark patterns inside of the game to be able to sell in-game items more efficiently and to be able to push more of these sales to kids with the use of the fear of missing out, or FOMO. They are essentially doing what you probably have heard a couple of Amazon listings doing, where, hey look, this thing's on sale for 20% off. It was originally like $40. Now it's, I don't even know what 20% of $40 is. We shall say it is now 50% off. It's now $20. When originally the thing was priced at 20. And so because of that, you now have a fake listing. Very, very fake. Extremely, extremely horrible business practice to conduct. And they're alleging, I use that term so loosely in this, but I need to say it, that Epic is doing the same thing. The other thing that they're obviously suing Epic over is the time mechanic inside of the shop, where certain things would roll over during the weekly resets or daily resets of the game, and then those items are no longer available. Essentially, continuing that fear of missing out, continuing the FOMO, continuing the gravy train of making kids feel like they have to get the thing before it goes away or is no longer on sale, even though eventually that item will come back to the store. Or eventually that sale will end, but the thing will still be priced the exact same. Seeing a company finally getting sued for this in a way that is at least gaining some news feels very good. This is something that really, really needs to change inside of the business sphere in general. Not just games, but online stores, hell, Walmart at this goddamn point too. Hopefully, Epic will back down, but I highly doubt it. So last week I talked about how Monster Hunter Rise is out, and honestly, extremely fun. I have really been enjoying the game. But on PC there have been a lot of performance issues. Well, modders over on the Nexus community side have decided to try to take that PC performance and try to optimize it themselves, since it's probably going to take Capcom a little bit of time to figure that one out. So we've had 3 mods that I've seen, probably a handful more, that are trying to fix most of the optimization issues. Most of them seem to try to fix a CPU issue that's been happening with the game. So we finally have some kind of through line now from what I was reporting on last week. We didn't really have a through line, and I didn't see one of what the optimization issues could be. And thankfully, people smarter than me, are going through and figuring out that it might be something to do with some kind of hit to CPUs. So a lot of these mods are kind of trying to fix that. There's a handful of them. I will link to them in the description, and hopefully you will go down and take a quick gander at them if you are having problems with Monster Hunter Wilds. Thankfully, the community is fixing it though, at least in some way, so that people who maybe bought the game and can run it but aren't running it great can get a little bit of boost. One of the mods was saying they could get like a 23% uplift in performance. Another one was quoting 10 extra frames. So maybe go ahead and check those out down below if you want. And hopefully you'll get a little bit more performance along with it. But the fact that the community has to do this is a little annoying. I wish that, like I stated last week, we could just have games that are optimized on PC. I feel for developers. I really do, that optimizing for PC is hard. There are so many variables when it comes to a PC rig and what the community at large could have in their system. So it makes it a lot harder to optimize for. It's not like it's just one or two standards depending on what part of the console generation you're in to be able to optimize for. And that's why, like, PlayStation, for instance, was pretty much no issues on PS5. I want these companies that are trying to release games on PC day dot to just understand that they need to try a little bit harder, especially when, as a whole, worldwide, most people game on PCs. Not everybody has access to the latest consoles. Hopefully, we'll be able to see that get fixed, and hopefully, we'll be able to see the whole of the community or the whole of the industry figure out, like, hey, we need to take PC optimization just a little bit more seriously. I honestly thought we would have been there by now, especially after how bad that Nier release was on PC, but whatever. Here we are. Konami hosted a Silent Hill transmission today. They went over the new upcoming release for them. Now, this is no asterisk. This is not new-ish. This isn't a remake. This isn't like, hey, look, we're making like a remake of Silent Hill 1 or something like that. No. Fully new game from Silent Hill and the Konami team. We are getting our first look at Silent Hill F.
シュウ君、嘘ついてるよね。騙せてると思う？ひなこを。ひなこはね、死んだんだよ。
Go and watch the whole transmission if you are so inclined. They went over a lot of stuff in the game. They brought on the writer of the game to be able to talk about a couple things, as well as a couple of the gameplay mechanics inside of the game. It looks super creepy and really, really cool. So from what we can garner, this is a lot of obvious speculation on my part, but from what we can garner from the little bit of trailer that we got and some of the other things that were in the transmission, this is going to be set in about 60s era Japan, and it's straight up just a whole new Silent Hill game. 60s era Japan. It looks super, super creepy, super, super interesting. And I know that two of my friends are absolutely just vibrating right now with excitement. For those of you that are interested, go ahead and check out the full transmission. I only played a little bit here for y'all, but hopefully you might get a little bit interested and we'll hopefully be able to see more soon. Steam is having a huge spring sale right now. They do this generally every season, or the start of every season. So we have spring, summer, fall, winter. Right now the spring sale is going on. There is a ton of stuff on sale. Definitely go and check your wish lists if you haven't already. And there's already a bunch of games that are super, super, super discounted right now. I saw like Doom 2016 was like $1 or something. So go ahead and check that out while you have the time. And while those games are on sale, Saber Interactive said on their Twitter, as well as some other places, but mainly their Twitter, that they are working and starting work on the next Space Marine. So we are getting Space Marine 3! Honestly, very nice to be able to see Games Workshop allowing them to continue the use of the IP. They did a great job with Space Marine 2. Definitely one of my favorite games. And hopefully, we'll be able to see a very good and very great representation for Space Marine 3. They said that they're going to be hopefully trying to get us more immersed inside of the Warhammer world. And I hope, for the sake of the Emperor, that they do. Death Stranding 2 on the Beach finally has a release date. Kojima Productions finally put out the release date on a couple of different platforms, and they said that it will be releasing June 26th. It came with, this is so Hideo Kojima, a 10-minute trailer edited by the man himself, apparently. It showed a lot of weird shit and a lot of cool shit. I'm definitely interested. I never played the original Death Stranding. That one's on me. I feel like I should probably go back, though, and definitely check it out, because this new game interests me a lot from a visual and story perspective. It looks super, super weird, but like atmospheric weird and not like horror-esque, which definitely interests me a bit more. Not that big of a horror fan, but it looks really, really interesting. And just very Kojima, he decided, you probably saw this on Twitter, he decided, oh, I'm gonna throw in a Solid Snake reference because it's funny. Ugh. It's very, very him. I hope to be able to enjoy this game. I never played the original Death Stranding, and I think I might have to go back and do that, because this new one looks real weird. All right, and welcome to my favorite part of the show, Indie Spotlight. Our first one to hit is a very, very cute, but also very thought-provoking, cozy game. This is Wonderstop. From someone who enjoys games and someone who has played a good handful of farming sims in my time, it definitely looks like something that I'm interested in, just because it's something that we don't really get to see from developers when it comes to, hey, look, we made this really cozy game, but we want to do some really, really thought-provoking pieces. It has a very interesting hook for me. And also, the other big hook, at least to me, is that it's coming from the people that made Stanley Parable. If you haven't played that before, highly recommend going and doing that. It is extremely well thought out game. Very, very interesting and very thought-provoking in a way that most games aren't. And also kind of keeps it goofy and light. I don't think they're going to be doing that with this one, but from what I've been reading, it is a very interesting game. Definitely go ahead and wishlist it or purchase it, as it is already out if you are so inclined. Our next indie game for us to check out is Oblin Party. This one is also out already for those that are interested in it. You can wishlist it still. That still helps out the developers. So if you don't have the money to purchase it right now, maybe go ahead and consider wishlisting it or give it a quick buy. There is also a little bit of a demo if you're interested. It looks super, super goofy. Not a lot of people are getting it, but if you have a couple of friends that maybe just want to kind of chill out and have a good time, this might be right up your alley. It's only $8. Right now it is on sale with the spring summer sale or the spring Steam sale if you're interested. It is normally $8. Right now it's $6.79. Maybe go ahead and check it out if you have a couple of friends that maybe just want to chill out and have a goofy little time. All right, everybody, and that does it for Gaming News Now. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope that you have a good day, evening, or night, and I hope to see you next time.